Welcome to Knattering with the Knights. North Anglia International School Hong Kong's PE department, talking about sport, physical activity, health and a host of other topics.
On this episode of Knattering with the Knights, Mr. Pate talks to Mr. Day about his sporting career from a young man all the way through to his current journey as a football manager outside of school. We hope that some of the stories entertain you and inspire you. Get the earphones in, get out and get active, and enjoy the episode.
Welcome to our next episode of Knattering with the Knights. I am delighted to be joined here by one of our PE teachers and the school PSHCE coordinator, Mr. Nick Day. He is such a busy man in the school these days that we've had to arrange this podcast for a Monday night. How are you doing tonight, Mr. Day?
Very good, thank you. Just got back from a football game.
Excellent. You're always a busy man in and around school and obviously after school as well. But let's go back to the very start. Could you possibly tell our listeners a bit about your own sporting background?
Yeah, I think my family have always been keen in sport and keen pushing me into different sports. But I did start off playing football and doing some swimming lessons. It was really my secondary school which pushed me into sports, and it was a rugby school actually. 6 rugby pitches and 2 football pitches, which I didn't particularly like when I first joined. But it got me into all sorts of sports. There was cross-country, swimming, football, athletics, rugby. I was actually a late developer in football. I was a goalkeeper when I first played football. And I didn't like it because my mum used to give us 50p if we got man of the match. I played with my 2 brothers. You know what pitches are like in the UK. It's cold, wet, it's muddy. It's probably like that in Scotland, right?
Yes, definitely.
So I'm in the goal. It's freezing. And when you're playing under 10s, under 11s, it's never a 1-0. It's 10-0 or it's 10-8 or 20-20, whatever it might be. So my mum used to give these 50p's for the man of the match. And because I was a goalkeeper, I'd let in 10 goals, but B, I was never going to score goals or influence the game that much.
Sure.
So I'd never get a man of the match. So I didn't like it. So I asked if I could play out. I think I started as a centre back and then played in midfield, centre forward, left midfield. I played basically all over. So I thought I was very versatile. Yeah. In terms of growing through school, I felt I was good at football in my class. Played for my school team. We did quite well. I had a few trials for local teams like Rochdale and Oldham, Stockport County, and was there for a little while, not too long, a couple of months, but just didn't quite make the cut. Played for a team in Norwich, which we got to a final and played at Portman Road in the Cup. We had about 2,000 in the stadium.
Wow.
As I've got older, I've liked skiing, wakeboarding, cycling.
Well, so a sort of variety of sports then. That's interesting because when you first came to our school, I heard from a very reliable source that you were a very good footballer. And I've only ever played football with you once, and you were playing in goals, funnily enough. But this time I think you were recovering from your second knee operation. You did dribble the ball over the halfway line, which was quite impressive. I didn't realise, obviously, that you'd played football to such a high level when you were younger. So that was your main sport then, football?
Yeah, so I joined the cross-country team. We had some trials. We went through some local fixtures. We progressed through to the Manchester finals, then went on to the Northern Schools Cross-Country Championship, which we actually won. It was we were the 3rd team in Greater Manchester to ever win the event, and that was probably the biggest achievement I had from cross-country.
Oh, that's impressive. Yeah, well, obviously, like for our listeners would have heard from the first episode when I did athletics that I was a Scottish champion, probably comparing Scotland to England. It's almost like it is a sort of district size, the similar size in England. So that's a good standard that you got to in cross country. I mean, hopefully I won't offend you here by saying this, but you don't exactly have the physique of a cross-country runner these days. Have you?
Well, what's my physique like? Extreme mesomorph?
Well, I suppose that's how Mr. Reid would like to describe himself. But no, I would say you're more of a power athlete these days. Would you agree?
Somewhat agree. No, I was a skinny kid. I carried no weight. So okay. It wasn't until I went to university I started putting on some weight and some muscle gains, I guess, from going to the gym. But I was quite skinny, so I was good at middle distance, and we used to train a lot. So whatever I used to eat, I used to burn off. We were training 3 or 4 times a week. And actually, my PE teacher used to take us. I don't think you get away with it now. Did you train on a track? Is that where you did your training?
Yeah, it's at a tartan athletics track, yes.
Did you do cross country?
Cross country I did at school as well, yes. Just around the school perimeter.
Was it your PE teacher who was like leading sessions, or did you have a coach that?
No, I never actually had a coach for cross country. You're right, yeah, it was PE teacher, same as you.
You were good at running, so then you transferred the skill to cross country. No, the reason I asked is because I didn't have a coach. It was just, like I said before, our old school PE teacher. And he used to say, to be good at football, you needed to be good at cross country, and vice versa because of the fitness. And there was an article that was done in 2016, and it measured the distance between different athletes during a game. So baseball, for example, they ran 0.037 miles. American footballs were 1.25 miles. That was for the receivers and the cornerbacks. Basketball, 2.55 miles. Tennis was 3 miles. And the most was football at 7 miles. So I guess the fitness was an added benefit. But of course, we know that there's different types of fitness. Rather than just doing continuous training, there are lots of breaks within football. And actually, Martin, James Milner, the football player, he was a cross-country champion. So although he was a footballer, he was also a very good cross-country runner. There's a fact for you.
Well, obviously you've sort of changed tack in terms of your focus. So obviously when you were younger, you used to do a lot of cross country. You've told us you played a bit of football. Well, what actually stopped you going further in these sort of disciplines like football and athletics? Why did you eventually stop doing sport like a lot of young people actually do, to a certain level?
I think for me, I enjoyed sport. I enjoyed participating in all sports. Maybe if I'd focused on one sport, I may have been a little bit better, but yeah, I don't know. I just kind of liked doing all sports. I knew I was okay at football in school, but when you actually get into the academies, you realize that there's so many players who are just so much better than you are, and they've just got that natural talent. So I tried hard. I always tried hard. Any sport, I would try my absolute best.
Well, I suppose what you're talking about there is variety in terms of your old style PE teacher. I mean, obviously he sounded as if he had a lot of passion and he put in a lot of time to make sure you're successful. But I think, certainly within our PE department, we want to offer variety to our pupils and our students, and we want to make sure that they have an opportunity to try out different sports. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're not the old style elitist type of PE teacher. No, I would say. I
think that's key. Give every sport a go, try your best. I would say, and I think the studies have proved this, if you offer a variety of sports, you're actually going to be better at one sport later on. That's so right. That multi-sports earlier on. Definitely. And the data kind of backs that up. Yeah, and also in 2016, there's a poll from the National Alliance for Youth Sports, and that found that 70% of kids in the US stopped playing organised sports by the age of 13, just because it wasn't fun anymore. And now, only 6 out of 10 children aged between 5 and 14 years old participate in sport outside of school. Sorry, go on. Your next question.
I'm not sure if our listeners will be aware, but you're now a very successful football manager, managing one of the top teams in the Yao League in Hong Kong. So could you please tell us a bit about your managerial career so far?
How far do you want me to go back?
Well, what was your first managerial experience then?
I think you know. You get certain characters who want to lead or offer their services to help, and I've always been that person. I've always wanted to give a helping hand, and I don't think anything's changed. So I was young, was working in McDonald's as a youth, so 16 years old. They obviously saw something in me when I was 16, 17, asked if I'd like to go on a manager's course, whether they wanted to keep hold of me as a future manager of McDonald's, I don't know. From that, I'd left McDonald's and went to university. It was a part-time job while I was going through college, but I learned a lot about myself then and a lot about a management role quite early on. It's very different to how I do things now. When I went to university, I played football for the football team at the university. And then at the end of the year, as players and the managers have left the university because they've graduated, I was asked if I'd like to come in a manager of a team. So I said, absolutely, I would love to do it. And you're trying to pick a team which is fair, but at the same time, these are your best friends at university. You go to lectures with them. You might even live with them, and you've got to make that decision of putting them on the bench, or I probably made some wrong decisions there and chose friendship over the quality of the player. But I was young. These are my mates, so I wanted to kind of try and keep them happy. But even now, things are going well in the team, and you're winning. You give away the credit. The lads did well, they scored the goals. But when things go bad, that's when people aim at the coach. And just look at the amount of football coaches which are sacked in the Premier League now. Over the last 3 years, there've been over 40 managers which have been sacked in the Premier League. When it's all going well, it's the top players like Pogba or Messi or whatever who are carrying the team. But when things don't go well, it's the coach that takes on that responsibility. And I guess that's what your role is as a manager. But in terms of how I got involved in Hong Kong, I was playing out here for, I think, a year, maybe a year and a half. And the coach was leaving and asked if I wanted to take on. I was a little bit reluctant because I just wanted to turn up and play, but I accepted with the help of 2 other guys. And then unfortunately I got injured, tore my ACL twice. So it took me out for about 3 years. And it just, while I couldn't play, I could still stand at the side of the pitch and be involved with the social side of it. And from leaving one club in Hong Kong, I then moved on to the Hong Kong Football Club, which is now where I'm at now, managing an adult team.
Okay, so would you say that then, I suppose, your kind of hobby or your sport, you had to adapt and change then to still be involved in the sport then at the time because of your injury?
If you get injured, it doesn't mean that it's the end of your sporting career. You don't have to stay at home. You could be a coach. You can be a referee. You can just help out and be a ball boy if you want, or be helping out at the side of the pitch. For me, I knew that I was probably past my best as playing as an amateur footballer. 2 really significant injuries with my knees. I wasn't very fast anyway, and I lost a lot of speed. It was just natural for me to go into a manager, even though for the group I'm at now, I'm still learning, still making mistakes. I know what direction I want to go in, and I want to communicate that to my players. But I also know that I'm going to make mistakes. And I guess if you're leading a sports team at school, you need to have a common goal with your team. The pupils also need to know that you make mistakes and people will make mistakes, but that's just the nature of learning.
Oh, definitely.
Small steps.
Yeah, definitely. We need to make mistakes. Yeah. I was just going to say, you were talking there about making mistakes, and obviously that is a really important part of the learning process. There's nothing wrong with that. The biggest coaches look back and they've made major mistakes, and it's all about how you can bounce back and learn from these mistakes and change things in the future. So what was could you give us an example of one of the mistakes that you've made then as a football manager? What would be your, not to be negative, but your biggest mistake then?
Oh, where do I start with that? I mean, I think in the early stages, as I mentioned before, as I was younger, I was probably playing my friends and trying to keep that friendship and that relationship with my friends rather than upsetting people just because it was easier. But I think now you have to do what is best for the team. It might not be the most popular decision. It might not be the most popular choice. That's what you're the manager for. That's why you're a coach. You've got to make them tough decisions and hope that you get it right. And I think you'll get more respect that way. So, yeah, I guess doing what is best for the team. But also the way you communicate, everyone's different. There's different players. Some players are quite happy to go on the pitch and perform. They don't need you to talk to them afterwards or before. They just get on with it. They turn up, they play, they do the job. There's other players that just need a little bit more attention, and you've got to kind of identify who these players are and what their needs are to get the best out of them. How can you get that? How can you make them and get the best out of them while you're at your team? What do you need to do to get the best out of it? It's the same as the pupils, right? Same as the kids you're playing for your football team. You've got a set of people. You know which ones could take a little bit of a criticism and use that kind of feedback to improve. Others, if you mention anything negative, it's just not going to help that person. Yeah, if you said to them, keep trying, it was a good pass, that you're doing really well, and have a little bit of confidence in them, that it might just change that player's confidence and they perform better. But yeah, biggest mistake, I guess the communication. I think for me, maybe just being a better communicator as I've got older, trying to talk to many players and just trying to. I know I can't keep everybody happy all the time, but trying to keep them as happy as I can, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer, just in terms of communication and obviously learning through experience about how to communicate better. And then you're talking there about relationships in terms of your players and knowing them better and knowing how to communicate with them. As you do, I suppose, as a teacher, you develop and you understand how to communicate, how you want pupils to learn as well. No, that's a great answer. What top tips would you give to any of our pupils who are trying to break into some of the kind of top sporting squads in Hong Kong?
I suppose, okay, so for a young aspiring athlete who is looking for a high level of sport, looking to crack into an academy, I certainly give a tip that I was given when I was younger by a coach who's now the first team fitness coach at Manchester United. He said to me, when you go for a football trial, when I was 15 actually, he said, dye your hair green. And I thought the guy was crazy. And I was like, I'm not going to dye. I mean, I'm 15 years old. I couldn't do it. But what I did do is I went out and bought a bright top. I remember it was a Diodora fluorescent yellow top. And I turned up this football trial at Rochdale. We went into the changing rooms and there was a kit laid out for us. So we all had to put a kit on anyway. So it didn't matter if I was wearing this kit because we were all in the same kit. So I should have dyed my hair green because looking back, we were all the same. They were all the same. There's 50 people and you get looked at for 2 minutes, if that. And you need to shine and you need to be spectacular for that 2 minutes. And if you blend in like everybody else, you've got to do something really special. And I just blended in. And obviously I wasn't good enough. But I would say for someone who's looking to have a lifelong love, passion of sport, is just to enjoy it, number one, try hard and, find a level which is suited for you.
So in terms of your management, Hong Kong, with football teams, why do you do it? Very admirable to run a training session after a long, hard day of teaching in PE to then to go out again at nights and weekends. So why do you do it?
I just love sports, and sport was part of my identity and my character, and that's why I became a PE teacher. But as much time that I have devoted to extracurricular activities outside of school and the stress that it comes with, I actually really enjoy it. I really do enjoy it, and especially when we win. It's not about winning, but it does make it enjoyable. So
I'd also like to ask you about how you see your role within our PE department. You're known to be a very personable teacher who really cares for his pupils, but I'm not sure our listeners will know about your creative and entrepreneurial side. Could you tell us a bit about that?
That's a lovely compliment. Thank you. There's so much technology at your fingertips as a teacher these days. I just try to exploit it. I guess if I think of an idea, just go in a zone for 10 minutes, deep thinking, I'll just try and work it out in my head and just trying to put the idea, see if it would work. I'm not Elon Musk by a long stretch, but if I was a pupil, I would say I have an idea, act upon the idea. I think that's the biggest problem. Lots of people have good ideas, but it's acting on the ideas. Yeah,
I was going to say that. I think you produce some amazing lessons for our primary pupils by turning one of the rooms in your flat into an actual green screen room and made these very engaging videos for the pupils, which they seem to love. So, I suppose it's taking that idea and the creativity and just acting upon it and working hard at it. Can we play a quick fire round?
A game? What do you want to do?
Right, okay. To put you under a bit of pressure, to make you think quickly, I know you're more of a slow burner, but to see if you can respond as fast as you can to the following 8 questions. So all you need to do is give me the first answer that comes into your head. Okay?
Go on.
Okay, here we go. Question 1, Barcelona or Real Madrid?
Real Madrid.
Question 2, what animal best describes your sporting prowess?
Cheetah.
Question... Come on, focus.
Go on.
Question 3. What most famous sports star you've ever met?
Eric Cantona.
Question 4. Favourite sport to play?
Football.
Easy. Question 5. Ferguson or Mourinho?
Alex Ferguson.
Question 6. Favourite sport to watch apart from football?
It's definitely not cricket. Cricket would be the last on the list.
Come on, positive here.
I say rugby, athletics.
Okay, good answer. Guilty pleasure food?
Tacos.
Not McDonald's. Okay. And question 8, the last one. Favourite department in our school out with the PE department?
Can't get me in trouble here. How do I answer that one? You're killing me here, mine. They all departments are great. I'm gonna drama. Let's go with drama.
Okay. Well, that concludes our podcast for tonight. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Day. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome.
Chatting to you and finding out everything about your past and obviously your current situation in your management in Hong Kong, which is very impressive as well. Thank you.
No, it was fun. Thanks very much. I hope that is informative. And let's do it again sometime.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Knattering with the Knights. If you want to make sure that you don't miss any future episodes, then please subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Please reach out to your PE teacher if you have any feedback or ideas about topics you would like to see and hear about in the future. In the meantime, have a great week and we will see you next time.